Hello and welcome to Third Eye Thinkers. I'm your host, Michelle Welch.
Hello, I'm your host, Megan Benanti, and today we're here for Wink, which is where we get to wink at you guys and respond to any questions that you have and do readings for you.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
I'm looking forward to this. This is something that we were talking one night and Megan just said, why don't we have a show called Wink? And I thought that was the coolest idea, to just take a wink of time from our third eye thinking. And so we got a lot of questions submitted to us tonight.
Yeah.
And if you guys are watching live and you want to submit a question, Matt, our producer, can be watching for us. Right, Matt? And is going to, sorry to put you on the spot.
No, I'll be keeping an eye out over here. I've got the Third Eye Thinkers Facebook page. It's also going to be shared to the Soultopia page. So if you just comment on that video, I should be able to see it, as well as both Megan and Michelle's YouTube pages up. So you should be able to find us relatively easily.
And also, Megan, we said we were going to do this it's the first
Wednesday of the month.
I should know that
Yeah.
because this is the first. Yes. The first Wednesday of every month. So you can remember that and mark your calendars on the podcast. And if you want to submit those questions in advance, that would be great.
Yeah, and if you'll post them to the Third Eye Thinkers Facebook page, or you can also reach out to me on my Instagram at Megan Benanti. But probably the Facebook page is going to be the easiest place for us to collect them all. So
Yeah, because today we were going to a lot of different places going, we don't want to miss any, right?
Exactly.
Because we have a lot of different places to look, and we're trying to cull those down so that we don't have to be looking in a lot of places and miss somebody's inadvertently and just forget. We would never want to just accidentally miss your question. And we'll get it to as many tonight as we can.
Yep.
But we
sounds
did
good.
get quite a few. So I guess I tried to put them all in one place so I'm not having to go back and forth because, like I said, there were in quite a few places. I'm going to have to scroll between two places. But do you want me to start with one?
Yeah, please
And
go
the
ahead.
questions were thankfully, they're just, we would prefer that you submit them to both of us, unless there was just something you want to know, like, Megan, we love your hair. Where do you get it done? If you want to do that, that's fine. But otherwise, it's just great for us to be able to bounce those questions off of each other. And thankfully, you did it that way. They were taught to both of us. So one of the first questions was, what are some of your favorite grounding practices, either at home or on the go?
Oh, nice. Okay, so one of the things I always love and I'm religious with is gardening. And so that can be watering my plants, talking to my plants, walking around barefoot. But for me, that is very grounding to connect with the earth. I will stop, though, and take a deep breath if I need to. And I'm kind of old school where I think about, my feet growing into roots into the earth. And I do that with energy work too, to bring someone back down, because mine is kind of cosmic when I work on people with energy work, so they're kind of floating out in space. So that helps to bring them back. What about you?
I love that, and I love that if you guys don't know, I'm always going to brag on her because she is a master gardener, and so she won't tell you that usually, but I will. So she's great at gardening, and so her garden is absolutely beautiful. It's like going to a resort. It's a spa, so when you go get healings with her or go get readings, you're actually going to this oasis. So, of course, she would ground there. I totally understand that. And so I think it's good to use your own, everybody will tell you how to ground, and so your feet in Mother Earth, you hear that a lot. Put your feet to Mother Earth, connect in the soil. I also believe it's very important, those of us who are very out and spacey, I think you can actually also hook to a star. You can visualize like connecting to your planet that you came from and hooking, like kind of like lassoing a star, and ground in the heavens and then ground in the earth, and then you're equally grounded between the heavens and Mother Earth.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's something I like to try and say to do, just in addition to that. And then, of course, I use crystals a lot for grounding. So smoky quartz, black tourmaline, anything black, brown, and sometimes red, because that's our root chakra.
Mm-hmm. And I do love crystals too. The other thing I was going to mention, as you were talking about hanging with the star, that if you're a creative person, your creative process is going to ground you. And so, if you're painting or sewing, any of that, because that creative expression is part of our earthly realm. And so I think that would be very powerful for people because, everybody feels better after they create something if they're artistic. So,
Yeah. And I love that. I think we did cover the on the go too, because you can wear on the go, you can take the crystals with you, but you can do meditations and things like that. Of course, when you're driving, you don't want to meditate, so you can have those. And I will say always on the go is not always driving, but if you are driving, don't forget to grid your car. A lot of people forget to put their crystals and things like that in their car. They'll forget how important that is to stabilize their car. Let's keep our car grounded too, right? So I think that's important.
oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I actually have driven with a very earthy crystal in my car for years, and it's always just in the dash. But that,
Yeah.
it just calms you down. It's nice to have.
And then when you sell your or trade in your car, make sure you get your crystals out because I don't always remember. And then you know they're under the floor mats.
Oh,
and,
gotcha.
You're gridding the whole car, and you're like, oh, I forgot those crystals, but they'll be good for the next person who has that car. All right, so let's see what we have next.
You want me to pull up one? the
Sure,
one that
I would love
got?
it.
So I've got one for my Instagram for Sarah, and she said, "What's helpful to know about her relationship?" And so this would be a reading question. So,
Okay, good. Let's do it.
do you want me to shuffle these, or you just want to pull?
They're already shuffled, so
Okay,
it's up
let's
to
pull.
you. Let's just intend that they're.
Okay. How
They're
many
ready.
do you want to pull?
Let's do 3,
Okay.
and we can do them however you want to do them. And if we need to set them on top here,
Okay.
just a little bit.
Matt, can you? Yep, you can.
That
see
looks
those.
good.
Okay. So we got 3 of Swords in reverse. We have the Star, and we have 8 of Swords.
And she said what's good for her to know about her relationship?
Yeah, what's helpful to know
Helpful.
about it?
Okay. This to me, the star card, if you guys can see this, sorry for popping in here, but what I just said about grounding, this depiction from Chris Ann's Light Seers Tarot deck, which is Chris Ann Donnelly's deck, which we're reading from, is exactly what I was just talking about. This is a perfect description of that grounding to heaven, between heaven and earth.
Oh, that's awesome.
That-
Yes, I saw it immediately.
It is
That's
exactly
beautiful.
which I don't know if that applies in the reading, but it's interesting that it just came up.
Yeah.
If you want to start
So, what I'm pulling from this particular image is that I know this has been difficult for you in your relationship. It feels like you've had some pulls on your heartstrings here. But I also feel that's beginning to lift. And there's a lot of focus on you being hopeful about how you can recover from this. And I don't know that that the difficulty is necessarily going away, but I feel like it's subsiding for now, the pressure of it. And then moving forward, there is a sense of needing to be patient, and also really working on yourself. Because I think, sometimes it's like you're feeling like you're under attack. And I think sometimes that's how we interpret other people's energy, whether or not they're saying anything. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It feels like you need to separate yourself from that a little bit. What did you get?
Is it Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah, I see 2 cards in particular that jump out to me that say to me that there's something that you are almost screaming, wanting to scream to be heard. And in the first card, it's like I'm screaming it out, and maybe you have, and something that I hate to say it, but that maybe you were hurt in the relationship, or you have been in the past. And then when you go to this 3rd card, I see where you feel like either you're afraid that that's going to happen again, and I don't know that I'm predicting that it's going to happen again. This looks more like a card of where you're concerned that it's going to happen again. It feels like in the middle, it does go to that grounding, that you're going to have to kind of ground yourself and get a hold of, are you saying what you feel? and really looking at the truth of the situation, because I feel like you know the truth of the relationship, and you're going to have to look at, are you being heard?
Wow. Yeah, no, that was great. I have to agree with Michelle on all that. So,
And I agree with what you said too.
Yeah.
So I think it's a deep question for you, but I do think you have to look at, are you really saying what you need to say, and when you do, are you being heard? And then if you are these just your fears?
right. And I will say, though, I don't feel like you have to decide on this right now. It feels like it's a time of patience. Yeah.
I agree with that patience because of that star card right in the middle, which is a
Absolutely.
good card. Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next question.
And so this is from Greg, and it says, I love doing my morning mantras. Got to get some Ganesha in at least once a day. Some people really enjoy singing hymns from a church, reciting pagan chants, burning incense, dancing every morning, etc. Actually, I'm sorry, the way I cut and pasted that was from Greg asked that last question, okay, on the grounding. Okay, so our next question is, and I don't have a name for this one because I didn't write all the names down, but that last question was from Greg, the grounding. Do you find any historically traditional or even your own rituals that resonate with either one of you that you do to start your day and or end it?
Coffee. Definitely coffee.
Mine's chai tea latte, hot with an extra pump of vanilla.
Nice.
But not anymore because I can't get into Starbucks and the lines into the street and causing wrecks.
That sounds painful.
No, but let's see. Do I? Gratitude first thing in the morning. I have a thing where I say on our meditations that we do at night that we're starting back again. I say hands to heart center. Think of one thing you're grateful for. Say that before you go to bed, and then say that first thing. So say that right before you go to bed. That one thing. Be specific, and say that one thing first thing before your feet hit the ground in the morning. Say it before your feet hit the ground. Like one thing. I'm grateful for my cat. Whatever it is, I'm grateful for the coffee, right? And so that is one thing simple that I can make myself do.
Oh, that's awesome. I had traditionally been really good with meditation. I will say I kind of fell off the bandwagon during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because it was the first time I had other time to relax. Yeah. But generally that was something I rolled out of bed, and I did that before coffee, dogs, anything else. Right now, I will say the first thing I do is acknowledge my dog because my husband's up making coffee already. And that is a quiet, kind of reserved time. And I really just kind of sit and enjoy that. And I know it's kind of old school, but, you think about it too. Tea drinking is a form of meditation and service. So that's part of it for me.
I agree with that because I like that the question said what resonates with you. And I think that we don't have to over spiritualize things. I don't think that everything has to be that you have to sit in a certain position and do it a certain way. I think that sometimes it is your own way of having quiet time, whatever that is, your own ritual. And I like the way the question's phrased because otherwise it becomes somebody else's way.
Right. And that is actually something that's important for you to be able to find what connects for you personally. And I have tried other people's prayers and things, and that usually never works for me. Mm-hmm. I am pretty good at my gratitude at night, though. That is something I'm pretty religious with. Mm-hmm. And I have found that, there's a lot of things I do ritually that I never associated as being ritualistic, but I was like, well, I guess I was looking up different types of witches this week, and I was like, oh, I connect with that and that and that and that. Mm-hmm. But I've never called myself a witch before. Mm-hmm. But it was just funny. It was just like, well, I guess I do all these things. So
somebody posted on our Instagram on Soultopia. Was it you, Roger? Roger's in the house here. And it was are you a hectic witch? And I thought, oh yeah, that's me. I'm the hectic one. Let's throw some of this in and let's see, do I have some crystals in my pocket? And yeah, I'm the hectic one for sure. That would be me. That not the way everybody tells me to do it. you know, I guess I'm the rebel witch. All right. Let's see.
What you got?
Let's go to somewhere I know, and I will say maybe some.
Michelle's our technology person here.
Not really. I just had
Well,
to put them
compared to
all in
me.
one place because they were all over all of our sites. Like I said before, that's why we were going to cull it down into one of. So this is from Lexi.
Okay.
I'm going to read what she wrote just because I haven't read all these before, and neither has Megan. So we're hearing these for the first time. From my experience, I remember we asked about chakras at some point. It affects the human body so much. I'd love to learn more about meditation. Of course, I'm interested on the effects on the brain, the stress differences in my body from start compared to the end. Let's see if I want to read on. I guess anyways, first approach it from an angle of we have to agree that everything is made of energy, everything. Then from there, how do each of us individually connect or feel with that energy so we can expand on each of our gifts? Where do you turn and who do you turn to for help? How do you pick your teacher? And she said, I hope that makes sense. We just magically happen to find you in your store, or should I say guided? So I think we could call that down to, what do you think of that?
So
wanna-
it sounds like she's asking about meditation, where do you find a mentor, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I would say enroll in a class that does meditation. Do you offer that here at Soultopia?
We do.
Okay. So, that would be perfect. I know I have taken a class in meditation, which is made a tremendous difference for me because I had always been like, hey, the 5-minute meditation. Whereas this really trained me to sit down for 20 minutes and focus. But yeah, so look at when Soultopia has one available. That's what I would say.
And I think as far as, and the Lexi that asked this does know a lot about this. I think she's asking probably also for other people. She's saying, as far as the diving deeper about chakras, we do have a certification class to it, Soultopia. But as far as finding people to go to, how do you pick a teacher? How would you answer that?
I think part of it is you're going to have to do a little bit of online research and find someone that resonates with you. Because everybody has a different style. And, if you Google meditation in your area, I'm sure you'll get a lot of different options that'll come up, and you can kind of do some research there and see what connects for you. And I mean, I kind of went into it blindly, wondering where to begin too. And just started with research. So,
and I also think that I think you can, self-taught's not always a bad thing either. And I will say this, I don't think that just because something is the most expensive thing, that necessarily means it's the best thing. So a lot of us are doing a lot of online things, and I would do a lot of research is one thing I would say to people. Just because a Reiki class, let's say, is the online, and there's debate whether online is good or not. You've got to use your discernment. Pull some cards or get a reading on that. Maybe if you don't feel comfortable pulling your own cards for that, but use your gut.
yeah.
And but I really, for somebody brand new, they might be kind of led to think that the most expensive thing is the best. The most expensive crystal class is the best. And I just will say, it's just like everything else in life. That's not always true. A lot of people in Dallas think that just because something's the most expensive,
They should have it.
that has to be the best. And maybe in other parts of the country, they're smarter than that. But I mean, seriously,
Right.
The most expensive does not always mean that's the very best. Megan and I have a friend, Benabelle Wynn, and she's brilliant. And a lot of the stuff she does, she gives away. She puts so many free things online.
Oh, that's awesome.
She just will put a PDF together and she puts it online. But yet, then a lot of things, different things she'll charge for. So you just have to kind of do your research.
Yeah.
I'm pretty opinionated about that because I do think there's some things that are. But yet again, I mean, I'm doing a class right now that is a tarot class for Ethany Dawn, and I will tell you it's a really, really good deal for her tarot school. And I'm sitting there going, this is a good deal because this is about 10 classes in one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So you do want to do your research and ask people. But it's not just about money, clearly, but that there is something in our business where you do want to look into that,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think. And I would recommend Megan too.
Not as a meditation teacher, though.
No, not. Well, I'm not talking just about meditation. I'm talking about she asked about any kind of teacher.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So for healings, for readings, and obviously we're on a show together, so
Yeah.
we would recommend each other for those things. So that's a good question,
Okay.
Lexi.
And I consider Michelle the teacher, by the way. I don't think that's necessarily my area of expertise.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not sure that's true, but
well, it's just not something I've done a lot of.
So we have, okay. So this person asked for her name not to be used.
Okay.
She said, happy birthday to me. It's tomorrow.
Yeah.
So she has a couple. Do you want me to choose one?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
And I can pass this to you if you want to read some of these.
Michelle's going to be 35.
Yeah, 7. I said I was on the do not make any jokes about my age, please, because I really don't like those funny old jokes. I don't.
Oh, no.
I don't
Nobody
like them at all.
does.
If anybody thinks
No.
those are cool, they're not cool. Okay, because I'm on the edge of 17. I like Stevie Nicks. So, all right, here are a few questions. She said, what is the difference between a spirit guide and a guardian angel?
Okay. Well, that's an interesting one. And one of the things that I had studied in the past said that spirit guides were beings that had lived a human life, and angels have never lived a human life and are not human in any way, shape, or form. That was kind of my understanding. I also feel, though, that guides can be beings that are not angels. And I feel like I have different guides. I have one primary guide, but I don't ever had the sense that he had a human life. And so, but I do accept, and I mean, he's my main guide. Like, I just know. What is your thought on that?
So this is a class that I teach, and so and it has evolved, to be honest
See, I
with
told
you.
you she's a teacher.
So it has evolved, though. My opinion, because it started off that I had this book knowledge of it. I thought, well, this is what they say. They say it has to be this, and it has to be this, and oh, you can't ever have a guide that is this. And it changed, So I agree with you. I think honestly, a guide to me. And she said, what is the difference between a spirit guide and a guide? I think a guardian angel, that is one of the things that they said. A guardian angel is not a guide. Everybody has a guardian angel. A guardian angel is sent to protect you, and a guide is sent to guide you, is what they say. Could a guardian angel guide you? Sure. To me, what is a guide? A guide is, I say it like this, like when you need bumper pads when you bowl. It's like, okay, flip those bumper pads up because I need some guidance to get to the pins, right? That's what a guide is. I mean, a guide guides you to your higher self and to source and to what your purpose is. That's what a guide is.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. So could it come in a form of an animal spirit guide? Could it come in a form of a multi-dimensional guide? Could it come in the form of an ancestor? Could it come in the form of a wise tree? Could it come in the form of a plant? Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. And so don't feel like you have to be tied to what someone else says on that. And I think I can speak for both Michelle and I, is that that's a continually evolving process and understanding for us as well.
And this is a good question, because a lot of people have this part of the question.
Mm-hmm.
I have yet to hear my spirit guide speak to me. What am I doing wrong?
Well, you're criticizing yourself. And you're not doing anything wrong. To me, there is a point at which we have to kind of shut down our egos and the self that we identify as, I am Megan Benanti, and I am a mom and a wife and a psychic. And it's like, okay, put all that aside. If I'm just in this moment and present in the now, what comes through? What is the essence of me? And I feel like that is when my guide is connecting with me the most. And I think you also have to really allow your imagination to kind of run wild. And there's a lot of trust that I put in my imagination. And so as a child, it made me kind of a weirdo. And as an adult, I'm so thankful for that. That I never really strayed from it, or not for long anyway. So trust, when you hear that little voice that just says, hey, you've got this, or turn right, not left. And it might not even be that you hear it, you just do
Exactly.
it. That's when it's happening. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with that. I agree, especially with the part, well, all of it, but where you said it may not even be that you hear it. So that goes into all your clairs. You may not hear it. And this particular person, I love what you said. Stop. First of all, don't criticize yourself, because we don't all receive our messages in the same way. And it could be just that little sign, that little synchronicity is the way that your guide communicates with you. And if you still don't feel like a guide's communicating with you, then I would just say, okay, make it more clear, please. And I had to do that recently. I was like, okay, I don't really feel like I'm connected that much with my guides. I feel like I'm getting messages, I can do readings, these things come through, but where are you? And sometimes I would say, I don't think this is what's going on with you, but I would say that sometimes they will pull back because they want you to connect directly to your higher self, and they don't always want you to be so reliant on their guidance. They know that you have a direct connection to source, and you do. Okay, so you are directly connected to source. You don't always have to have total dependence on guides. But I'm not saying that's the situation, but it's those signs, synchronicities, that 111, that friend who happens to call right when you feel you want to know the answer to something. That's how guides speak to us too.
Well, and I didn't even, I grew up in a religious background, so I literally just prayed straight to my experience of God for years and years and years. It wasn't until I was probably close to 30 before I began to get into this idea of guides. And so, yeah, don't be afraid of feeling like you're not there yet.
And you know what? She answers her own question. You answer your own question. You say, I have a friend that calls. This is so funny because she said, I have a friend that calls right when I'm thinking about her, or let's see. The minute I think about her, she calls. Why is that? I often wake up around 3 a.m. for no reason. Well, that's another thing, too. Kind of people wake up around 3 because, is it because the veil is thin? But that friend calling, that's what I was talking about. Okay. And you thinking, and she's calling. First of all, that's some telepathy. I come back from our Lemuria days. That's telepathy. But that's also, I believe, a way that your guide helps communicate is through your friend and that synchronicity. That's kind of what I'm saying. A friend calls right when. And also, I can't answer the thing about the veil being thin because I don't believe there is a veil. I think that's a construct of man, so I can't answer that question because I don't believe in a veil.
That actually makes total sense to me. I guess I say the terminology, but yeah, whether it's there or not.
Is it easier to connect at dawn and dusk? Do they say that, and at 3 a.m. in the morning? Because I think because it's easier for us when we're tired to get into that state of mind. Yes. Is it because the veil is thinner? I don't believe in one. I'm just being honest.
Oh, yeah, and that's interesting because I don't ever try to connect it in the middle of the night.
Yeah. But there
It just
is
creates anxiety for me at night if I'm awake.
Yeah, but like Matt, you've heard of the 3 a.m. thing, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's a big. Well, a lot of people who are into the paranormal or stuff like
Yeah.
that, or even alien abduction stories. That is a big. 3 a.m. is always something when the whatever shadow people come to visit you or whatever. You wake up and that's when you see things. So yeah, that's very very prominent. in
Yeah.
That area.
That whole mine growing up was always 3:15. So I was a little bit off, but I've always been a little bit off.
Yeah.
You know, so
A little bit late to everything. Huh?
I was a little bit late to the party all the time, right?
I mean,
and I'm always a little bit late to the show. So there you have it.
Yeah.
There you have it.
I'm
I'm
on
up
Michelle
at
time.
3 often, but it's just to visit the porcelain, you know.
It's more than that, girl. It's more than that. Matt
They're
just told
knocking
you
on my
it's a
door.
paranormal thing.
I think for a lot of people, it just tends to manifest as like the same time every night. It's not always 3. Sometimes it's
Right.
2:30. Sometimes it's whatever. But it's when you feel those things, it tends to be at the same time every night, or you notice it at the same time every night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, what we got next?
Let's see. This is a good one.
Ooh, bring it on.
This one's yours. How do you determine the difference between intuition and just making it up in your head?
Oh, well,
I don't.
yeah, okay, I was going to say there's a very fine line there. Yeah, you know, when I channel, and I guess and it's funny because I never called it channeling until I heard Michelle say that. And I was like, oh, I don't think I channel. And it's like, well, what else am I doing? And it's funny when you add terminology to things because all of a sudden it means that it's a different expression or it's labeling what it is. And I don't even know that we need to do that.
Yeah.
So whether it's your imagination and you're making it up or you're actually channeling something, I think there's a part of you where you kind of know. But I also find like if I'm reading for someone, I'll ask because I'm like, and it's usually when it's really getting far-fetched and detailed, I'm thinking, oh God, I got to be making this up. And that's usually when it's most freakishly accurate. And so,
yes.
yeah, totally.
Totally right.
So that's, yeah, when you feel like you're making it up, you're probably really on it.
And a lot of times I'll tell people in Intuitive Insights, that's when you're most tempted to shut down. And, you know, I've said this story a million times, so it's quick, that it's the pelican on the head story. One time I saw a pelican setting on a lady's head. And I was like, okay, I see a pelican sit on your head. And I just knew she was going to be like, I want my money back. Right?
Yeah,
Wouldn't
totally.
you? I mean, I want my money back. And she's like, oh, that's my last birthday party. And I have a birthday party coming up and I don't know what they're going to do for me. Blah, 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 blah. They gave me a pelican hat on my head and that meant so much to me. Blah, 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 blah. And she was just... And the thing that was the craziest thing that I thought, oh, I'm just thinking of something to say. I'm making this up. This is my imagination, was the very thing. And I tell everyone. So it is hard to know. But I agree with you. It's those things where I think, and think about it. Okay, so our pineal or our pineal gland is our third eye, basically. That's what's connected. And it's the shape of a pine cone, and that's where the name comes from. Interesting little fact. That calcifies, and fluorite does it, it calcifies as you get older, right? So when we're children and we have this great imagination, that's when we're more psychic, typically. Mm-hmm. And that's when we have a bigger imagination. So who's to say?
Yeah.
I think that our imagination a lot of times is our psychic knowingness, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah. No,
It's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and that's when I say, just say it. Don't.
Yeah.
I love I mean, we agree totally on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Do we
All
have
right.
time for, well, that one's kind of broad. I would say to Deanna, good question. Some exercises to strengthen intuitive abilities. Can I just plug my class on that one and just say go to Intuitive Insights? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I would just say we do that, a lot of them. And we will answer if we have time next time on that one. Good question.
Yeah,
There's
but that's absolutely what the classes are for, is to help you sharpen your intuition,
Yeah.
understand things better.
I just wanted to get to somebody who gave us a good question, and it was probably the first question. I didn't want to leave this one out.
Okay.
And this question actually went to Megan from Carla. And it says, hi, guys. I have a question for which I think I just, dadgummit. I want to remain anonymous. Okay, forgive me. Shit.
Sorry, Carla.
Sorry, I'm sorry for cussing too. All right, so for background. I didn't even notice. All right, let's edit this show. Okay, so let's see. So she's listened to a couple of Lori Ladd videos, and she's come across some. Should I even ask the question now? I'm going to. She'll forgive me. She's listened to some videos, and they've come across her path serendipitously. Both really resonated with her. And the first one wasn't anything that weird, but the second one was a concept that was completely new to her. And I think this is a very fair question, by the way. I mean, this to me is not that unusual, okay? It resonated at a deep level with her. It was about Lemurians and 5D, and portals. And she's had some experiences with this. And she said it might not sound unusual to us, but it was a little weird for her in a way, because she's had some experiences in some specific places where she felt she really had some portal type feelings, okay? And at first it kind of only happened after meditations, but now she feels like they're a little bit amplified. She'd like to see if this is a normal part of the awakening process, or if indeed these are vision anomalies are associated with some sort of portal, specifically 5D. And there we go. I'm going to let you answer because I'm a little...
You're going to have me answer that?
Well,
okay.
I mean, I'll answer, but I'm so sorry. Okay, there's a billion Carlas out there. All right, go ahead. Roger.
Okay. Well, I think what I would say is everybody's experience is going to be different. And so I think trust your gut on how this feels. If you feel like you're entering into a portal, or if this is just an awakening of connection for you, it sounds really intense and probably pretty cool. And I'd be kind of excited about it if it was me. So I would definitely go into that more. And, you can look into educating yourself more on Lemuria if that's something that interests you. You can also try maybe doing a healing session, an energy work session with like Michelle or I or someone else that you might know that... can help maybe open that door and let you have that experience and feel like you're sort of held and safe in our space with you. That could be a way to maybe explore that a little deeper, but also know that someone's holding you and grounding you in that space.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I think most of us are connected to Lemuria or to Atlantis or Atlantia. Okay, so that I just feel that very strongly. And I think everyone to some extent is. So yes on that. Portals I find interesting because I think we're all portals.
Oh, okay.
So when people will say something like, oh, be careful because you're going to open a portal and you better close it, I think we're all portals. So I have a very different view on that. So what I think probably you're experiencing, I think you are already awakened. So also, and the awakened word's an interesting word too, that with this much time left, that's a whole show, in my opinion. So what I think it is that you are evolving in your understanding. I think, is it a 5D experience? Yes. What I think it is you're getting more up into your transpersonal chakras and your understanding and more up into those chakras that are outside of our body, and you're having more out-of-body experiences. That's the best way I know how to put it. Is it in different dimensions? Probably. In your chakra experience, not necessarily. And are you astral traveling there? I don't know, because you haven't told me that in the question. It's a lot more to answer for me. So it's my opinions on portals and 5D are different than a lot of what the general mainstream think about portals and 5D. So what I think is that what you're experiencing is really cool, and it's because you have probably been experiencing some miraculous changes, and you have seen some miraculous things that you have manifested in your life come true lately, and so you are operating on a higher plane, if you want to call that 5D, you can. And so yes, I believe that those experiences are very, very real.
Yeah, that was an awesome answer. Yeah.
Thank you, because it
And-
didn't feel like it at all.
No, I thought that was a great answer. And just to, enjoy that experience, because not everybody gets to be blessed to be that evolved or is ready to be that evolved. And there might be for you facing some of your own fears during this process too, because it can be, as we awaken in different ways, sometimes it's like, oh, did I just see what I thought I saw? Like, what was that?
And to
So-
trust it, like again, to trust it and not get back in this human, call it 3D experience. And I guess I would agree with that 3D, 5D. I don't know all the Ds and all the dimensions. Somebody's assigned and written a book about all the different dimensions. Somebody channeled that. I don't know, if that's what they've said is right or wrong. I think you could probably tell us. Does that feel 5D to you? Describe that to us. Write that down. You, because I know you, are a great writer, and I think you should write down those experiences, and so that we know if you feel like that's 5D, what that feels like. And by the way, I texted her, you guys, and said, I said your name, and she said, oh, it's okay, LOL.
There we go.
So, all right, because I do want to keep confidences when we do this. If y'all ask, I promise I do. I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah. So,
So,
Is it time?
okay, I think it's about time. And you all have been listening to Third Eye Thinkers with Michelle Welch and Megan Benanti. Thanks for joining us. So, if you like the show, please give us a 5-star review if you're on podcast. Don't forget to follow us and like us on both Facebook and on YouTube. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again next week. Bye.